Welcome back to LearnPianoLive.com. My name is Jamin, and as you can tell from the countdown clock, the lesson is about to get started. In case you're new with this, there's a few things I'd like to show you to help you throughout the lesson. These lessons are always guided and shaped by your questions, and if you're live with us today, there's a couple different ways you can do that. One is in the public live chat, and the other is the Ask Jamin a Question button, where you can ask me a question privately, and I won't share your identity in case you're afraid that your question is stupid. But it's not. If you're in the archives, though, then just open up the survey. At the end of that, there's a place where you can ask your question. I will say I frequently get questions from students in the archives watching a lesson from 6 months ago, and I have no idea what they're talking about. So please try to be as specific as possible. If you're watching this at LearnPianoLive.com, there should be a PDF and an MP3 button right next to this video. The PDF will often have additional video links inside so you can get more in-depth instruction on each of the topics. And if you're the kind of person who likes to print out the PDF so you can make the same notes on your physical version as I'm making during the lesson, now would be the time to do that. The MP3 is just a play-along track so you can practice more after the lesson. In traditional lessons, a teacher is going to actually present some new concept for maybe 5 or 10 minutes every couple weeks. The rest of the time is going to be spent applying and refining those concepts. Well, here I'm spouting off hours of new information every week, so it's totally unreasonable to expect you to actually absorb all of that. Instead, the goal of these live lessons is for you to find some little nugget of something that makes sense, but is a bit of a challenge, and for you to go practice it, because practice is where all the improvement's going to happen. So don't feel bad if you have to leave the live lesson and you find that little thing that you're going to practice. And of course, if I'm going too fast, you can always rewind the live lessons or replay in the archives as much as you want. If these live lessons start feeling random or meandering, it's because they are, on purpose. So if you're the kind of person who wants classical training with a step-by-step method, then you're going to want to check out Kloppel Academy on the website. It's included in your live lesson subscription, so you can do both or either. And the upper levels are seriously hard work, but it's going to take you all the way from ground zero all the way up to being ready to enter any major music college as a piano major in classical or jazz. And finally, today we're talking about a skill that most people believe is magical, and it's just not. Improvisation. You can learn to just sit down and play a song without having something in mind ahead of time. It's not a magical skill any more than when my daughter asks me, "Daddy, tell me a story." Like, I don't have one in mind ahead of time. It's probably going to be a villain in there. There's probably going to be a hero in there. The hero's probably going to look and sound a lot like me, but I'm just making stuff up, and improvisation is just the musical equivalent of telling stories. In the end, you might find out that you're no Mark Twain, but you can have a lot of fun, and honestly, you can become super decent at it, even if you're not the best. The truth is, even Mark Twain wouldn't have known that he was going to become Mark Twain without a whole lot of practice. So don't be discouraged. You can do this. And you'll need to do this. Every musical scenario, from playing Happy Birthday for your nephew to performing Beethoven at Carnegie Hall, is going to be benefited by good improvisational skills. So, let's make up some stuff together. Welcome back to LearnPianoLive.com. I'm Jamin, and this is the incomparable Kendra.
Guess what? So I'm reading this book, 1984. Jamin and I have had some discussions about it for my English class, and I read it when I was a freshman. Now I'm a senior, an old lady, basically. And I'm actually liking it a lot more this time around. Good to hear. Yeah, because I stopped on like page 30 when I was a freshman. I was like, I can't do this. But I like it now. I don't know what it is.
It was one of the most important books ever. So,
yes.
That's good.
Yeah.
All right.
My brain has matured or something.
Maybe.
Probably not. I'm just as weird as I was then, but, you know.
Wait, maturity means you're less weird?
No. I mean, I just, you know.
It's not been my experience. Okay.
That's a really good point.
Well, let's jump into the pivot for today. This has been a learning experience on both ends of this, on as far as like how to get through this stuff. So this is technically like the beginner version of this lesson, but this is not beginner material by any means. So this assumes already that you can play chords to a song like we did with All-Star last week and the week before, and that you're making up stuff, and you are making up stuff and you're wanting to sound more like a jazz player Okay, cool. So we've already narrowed the audience a whole lot. You know chords, you are already improvising or making up your own melodies, or you wish to, and you want to go down the route of jazz a little bit. Then we're ready for this stuff. So this is going to be just 4 notes. That's the entire lesson, is 4 notes that you would play over a C minor 7. So assuming that you already know that this is a C minor 7, which is a C and an E flat and a G and a B flat. You wouldn't necessarily have to play that. In some of our other soloing lessons, we've talked about how to comp in your left hand and stuff. But for right now, we'll just assume that you know that that's what the chord is. And you're wanting to know, what should I play over that? I know I can play that note or that note or that note or that note, and those are going to sound pretty good. But then what do I do after that? So what you would play here for the pivot is you would play this note right here. You'd start out on E flat, and I'm going to point out that that is the 3. There we go. That is the 3 of the chord. If that's the 1, the 3, the 5, and the 7. So we're going to go from the 3 down to the 5. So we've got the C minor chord. We're going to go from the 3 of the chord down to the 5. And then we're going to go up to the 7 of the chord. And then up to the note that's just below the 3. So every single time we play the pivot, we're going to end up a half step below where we started. So if we start here, that's the beginning of the pivot. The end of the pivot is going to be right there. So we're going to go from there down to the 5, 7, and then half step below the 3. I'm going to call this the 9. Okay, cool. That's the entire lesson. 3, 5, 7, 9. Why does that take a whole lesson? Well, because that's the minor 7 chord, and then we have 12 minor 7 chords. So we've got the C minor 7 chord, we've got the C sharp minor 7, we've got the D minor 7, E flat minor 7. We've got a minor 7 with every single one of these roots. And we need to practice them if we're going to be able to play the pivot wherever we want to. Now, I wouldn't recommend practicing actually all 12 of them in that order. Probably just go to whatever song you're trying to solo over and then like play that one. If you don't have anything to solo over, then maybe just pick up a backing track from YouTube. I'll show you some of those a little bit later. But I will show you one of the more common progressions that we have is like a D minor 7 to G7 to C major 7. Sorry, D minor 7 to G7 to C major 7. That's a pretty common thing in jazz. It's called a 2-5-1. And so on this D minor 7, if we're going to play this is the 1, the 3, the 5, and the 7. Remember up here, we said we're going from the 3 down to the 5, up to the 7, up to the 9. At this point, I feel like I'm speaking a foreign language for a lot of people. So feel free to let me know in the survey or in the comments where I'm losing you, because at this point I lose a lot of people. But we're gonna play the 3 of the chord. So we've got the 1, the 3, the 5, and the 7. We're gonna play the 3. This is gonna be the 3 down to the 5, up to the 7, up to the 9. So we'd play the 3 down to the 5, up to the 7, up to the 9. So on a D minor 7, this would be playing the pivot over the D minor 7. So if we went to YouTube, we're like, show me a backing track that is a 2-5-1, maybe a medium swing, practice backing track, and see. That's the title of this thing. All I typed in was backing track, 2-5-1 backing track, and this said in C major. So this is a 2-5-1 backing track. So it would sound something like this. That's all this is. So this is the thing where you like make up your own melody. So we play in the key of C. And the chords they're playing are a 2 in the key of C, to a 5, to a 1. That's it. And a 2, to a 5, to a 1. And the 2 is D minor. And I already know what I'm going to play on D minor when I get there, so I just got to make up something for the rest of it. So I'm going to play my that's the D. So again, 1, 2, good, and something, 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 and the something is whatever you want to make up after that. So. And then how do you know what the other right notes are to play for the other chords? You make it up. Also, you practice these things on more than one chord. But I got a feeling that Kendra's dying to interrupt right now. Go ahead, my friend.
Hey, Jamin, it's time for our feature of the day, which today is our website of the day.
Yes, and because I get a lot of questions about sight reading, especially for people who are going through Claude Academy and they run into difficulty getting through the part of the test where you've got to just say, give you something brand new you've never seen before and you have to read it. The most common mistake is not with the notes. Actually, that's the part that most people practice the most, which is probably why they get it right. But the most common mistake is in the rhythm section of the sight reading. So, Kendra, if you would take your face out, sorry, so we can see the tablet. There we go. So this is the site, practicesightreading.com/create.php if you want to go straight to the section that I would recommend. And so this here, you can choose which time signature you're going to be playing in. Most of the sight reading, I think, in Claude Academy level 1, 2, and 3 is going to be in 4/4 time. So you pick 4/4 time. If you don't know what that means, that's all right. We tell you that in Claude Academy. And then you're going to pick some number of measures, and you can make this really as long as you want to. I think you got to do the Claude Academy assignment is an 8-bar sight reading thing. Thanks for that. And then you get to pick the level, and this just has to do with does not correspond to the Claude Academy levels perfectly. But this is just how difficult of notes you want or how difficult of rest you want. So probably most of you are going to start out with level 1 and 2, and then it creates it for you, and then it will also play it back for you. So if I click play on this, it's going to play this rhythm. So my recommendation would be, if you're going to use this to practice your sight reading, then create it, try playing through it once, and then go back and play along with them playing with you and see if you got those rhythms right. But that's going to be a really great practice tool for those of you who are trying to get through that stuff. Or if you're not in Claude Academy and you just want to practice your sight reading on your own because you want to get better at those rhythms. The rhythms are really kind of the most important part. But we need to get back to our 2-5-1 pivot practice because there's a lot there. We'll get to it right after this short break. So sadly, the lesson preview has come to an end, and it's time to say goodbye to everyone watching the free streams. Of course, paying subscribers at learnpianolive.com can continue watching this lesson and several hundred others like it in the archives. So come on over and check us out, and if you like what you saw, at least like and subscribe, and then tell your friends to head on over to learnpianolive.com to start enjoying this journey with us.